Hello, everyone. We're going to wait because I know everybody's going to be piling in. So we'll chill for a little bit.
I don't know if you know this, but we had some people attend our last session from the West Coast.
Awesome. Yeah. Pretty awesome.
They had to get up a little early to attend our session at 9 a.m.
Yeah.
But I had no compassion for anyone attending our session early at 9 a.m. because I used to watch a lot of fights on the UFC. People on the West Coast, when they're watching shows like that, they get to watch it at 10 a.m. or 10 p.m. and I'm watching it.
Like 1.
Yeah, 1 a.m.
Well.
So, but it's 9 a.m. is a good start time for East Coast. So.
All right. Good morning, everyone. I'm very excited. So I'm going to be actually opening this one up because this guy is going to be taking control of most of this one. But I believe that you will be learning from somebody who definitely knows Outlook like nobody's business. I'll even give you an example on my screen of when he was using you.
Me? Okay. I didn't know.
When Bobby, my dad, was using Outlook, it looked like this. Look at that. That looks ancient. But he was doing it.
Why don't you do a quick poll, see if anybody was using Outlook when it was that version?
Yeah, how many people were using Outlook in 1997? How many of you? Thankfully, it's changed a little bit. Oh, some people were. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, it looks mildly different.
Mildly, just a little bit.
Well, I think the cloud really had a huge impact on what it did.
Yeah.
You know, that was a big player.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we're just going to talk about some tips and tricks that you guys can use while you are using Outlook. So Bobby is going to take care of this one, talk a little bit about some changes even that are possibly happening coming up, or even just things that you can use to make your life easier, which I know everybody wants that, because I know even I would want that. Everybody wants to make their life easier. Sometimes you don't even realize that you're using Outlook in a way that might be harder for you, and you don't even know.
Mm-hmm. Good point.
So I'm excited for you guys to check some things out, listen to what he has to say, and I'm going to kick it over to him, and he's going to get started.
Okay. Let me put my stuff on silent here so we don't get any calls in the middle.
Hear that dinging?
That dinging. All right, let me go ahead and share out my screen. But I also want to preface, Kaylee gave me that great introduction. Thank you. I will try my best to live up to that. I will be honest with you. Yes, I have been using Outlook since '97, and I have seen a tremendous amount of transitions. This is a very mature product, Outlook is. And you know, are you seeing my Outlook, or are you seing my web browser?
Oh yeah, I see it.
The Outlook?
See your Outlook.
Okay, good. It's a very mature product. It's been around. There were iterations of it before even Outlook '97. So it has changed quite a bit. One of the big game changers was Outlook 2003 was a big change from the older versions. The ribbons started to become different, and then Outlook 2010 even changed more significantly. And then as it went into the more current exposure, it's even changed more. So there's a lot of evolution. A lot of that's been driving because of the cloud. A lot of the cloud options and a lot of the connectivity. One of the things that I'm just going to kind of prophesy here. Teams is a big player. Microsoft knows it. It's a big product that has a lot of impact. And I believe what's going to happen is you're going to start to see more integration with Outlook and Teams. Things like groups inside Outlook is starting to lose traction, and a lot of that functionality is kind of being more pushed towards Teams. So I believe what you're going to start to see is Teams incorporating more and more functionality and pulling it out of Outlook because they're trying to centralize the collaboration. They're trying to centralize more of what's going on. And that makes sense, right? You don't want to be kind of going, okay, where did I communicate? Did I do that in Outlook? Did I do it in Teams? Was it on chat on my phone? Man, I can't remember. I mean, have you ever done that, Kaylee, where you can't quite remember where you
Yeah.
communicated with somebody?
Yeah.
And
sure.
so that's Microsoft sees that, and they're starting to try to push more collaborativeness between the products and start making it to where you can see what's going on the same way between those products. But I believe Teams is going to be that hub where everything is going to be kind of flowing into it. But they're not there yet, but I know that's coming, and that's why I think for the people that are attending here, really start playing and getting used to Teams. It really is the future. People that have been using Teams now, there'll be a time 10 years down for the road, and you'll be like, I remember when I was using Teams, and it was like 2020. Now it's so different. I mean, that's going to happen. But you'll be ahead of the game and way more advanced than other people. All right, little housekeeping. This is going to be more interactive. I have a general list of things that I want to go through to show everybody, but stop us at any time. Raise any questions. This is really about trying to help you guys more than me pontificate about what I know about Outlook. So I do want to make sure that this is going to be helpful to everybody involved. So please, please, please ask any questions. I'm going to throw some scenarios out, and I'm going to try to go through how we're going to solve them in using Outlook. But if you have some scenarios you would like for us to try to perhaps solve, me and Kaylee can try to take our swing at it. Like I said, have been using it since '97, and I know maybe about half to 3/4 of what's available in Outlook. There are nooks and crannies of Outlook with settings that I don't even know. So it is a very mature and large product. Kaylee, how long did I work on just trying to come up with some of these things to cover? How many hours would you say? I locked myself in a room for a while.
Yeah, you locked yourself in for a couple of hours yesterday, and we're just focusing on this stuff. So it's been a. I don't even know if you've come up yet. I think you're still in the cave.
The hoodie is
the hoodie is still on.
So first off, I think what I'd like to try to show everybody here is just some of the ribbon flow in Outlook. I think that's really important. Just understanding how you can change the appearance of Outlook to make it better efficient. That's not good English. To make it more efficient. There you go.
Yeah.
To make it more efficient for you. Maybe you don't like the way that this view is. Maybe you don't like how this read pane is here. A lot of that can be found under this view section. And these things here, you can change how you want your view to be. You can change how you want your folder panes to be here. I'm not going to play with them that much here, but that's where you can change those things at. So maybe you don't want, maybe you want your read over the top, right? So maybe you want it more like this. So if you do it that way, then now your list is here and your read pane is down here, and then you can change it. I personally like it this way, and I think anyone that likes it any other way is just weird. But that's just
it's just wrong.
It's just wrong. It's kind of like how you do toilet tissue. Some people like it. How you put it in the roller. There's a right way and a wrong way. This is the right way. But I mean, it's really personal preference. Whatever kind of gets you what you need to have. Maybe you like to have your to-do lists over here too. So, you can have your calendar section over here, which is kind of nice. Sometimes people like being able to see the calendar items on here, which is kind of nice. Being able to see what's coming up without having to keep switching back to the calendar view. So that's, I think, kind of the first tip that I would show is get this the way that you want it to be for you personally, so you can be very efficient with it. So I think that would be the first kind of official tip, is getting the view settings the way you like. And you're not going to blow anything up. If you happen to be on this call and you're not a client with us, you should be. But if you happen to be on this call and you are a client and you're playing with a view and you somehow feel like you've now marooned yourself on the island of misfit toys and you don't know how to get it back to how it needs to be, just give us a call. We can help you. But I do really encourage you to play around with these different settings. You're not going to blow anything up, and if you do kind of paint yourself in a corner, we can get you out very easily. And I promise we won't point and laugh because we've all done it. No judgment. No judgment. Okay, so that's one of the things I think is really important, is just the view, making sure that you get your view settings here. Now, another thing that a lot of people don't see or pay attention to is these little guys here. Now, these guys are little sinister jerks that create a lot of tickets for us, because this happens here. I click that, and then someone goes, "Oh, I lost my bar. It's gone. I killed it." And they're like wanting to hold a service and a vigil, and it's dead and never to come back. No, it's still there. See that little chevron? I call them chevrons. You could say greater than or less than, because there's one here too. See that? Just to bring it back, all you have to do is just click that arrow. It'll slide back to the right, and then you notice this little pin. What do you think that pin does, Kaylee?
It saves it right there.
Yeah, it sticks it. Boom, right there. Now it's back, like the Backstreet Boys. So this kind of lets you just completely swing it over to the side. Now you can change it by just putting your mouse over here under these lines, and you can adjust this however you like. I encourage you doing that so that you feel like you get the real estate you need on your screen. If you're on a laptop that has a smaller screen, maybe you want to adjust this to get that kind of real estate that you're going to need to be productive. So these are really helpful. And each one of these little lines, if you mouse over them, create the ability for you to drag and move them. And now that I added this new section here, I can do the same thing here. I can increase it or make it smaller.
Yeah, I'd encourage everyone to exit full screen by clicking the view options at the top and clicking exit full screen and following yourself if you would rather, do that, and that helps you out a little bit more if you want to do it yourself while he's showing as well.
But we're also going to, like we have been in the past, record this, post it on our link. So don't feel like, oh, let me quickly take notes.
Yeah.
Recorded, put your pen down, just focus on what we're talking about, pay attention. Really what you want to do is just listen and immerse yourself in what we're discussing. Don't feel like you have to follow detailed notes. This video is going to be absolutely chock full of tremendous tips, options. Some of these are going to be more detailed. Some of them are going to be more advanced. You could probably watch this video 5 times and you'll get something that you didn't know out of it each time that you watch it. So it's going to be almost too much to consume right now. So don't expect this to be just a basic primer. I really do want to put a tremendous amount of information in here so that just go back and watch the video again. Also, if you have new employees that are starting or things like this is a great video for them to watch to help them become more efficient in using Office products. Okay, great point, Kelly. Now this top ribbon here, this also creates a lot of ticket for us because sometimes people are maybe they're going to click something and they accidentally click this guy, and you just see the ribbon just boop, it's gone, and then they're like, oh my gosh, the world has ended, and all you have to do is just click the little switch ribbon, and then it'll drop right back down again. So now maybe you want that, maybe because like I was talking about, you've got a smaller screen and you're like, oh heck, let me go ahead and hide these guys and give me some more real estate here, and I can mouse over the inbox and switch between these as I need to. But this is great. If I want to go ahead and click on my calendar, I can just click here, and I like having more real estate. Then great, go with my blessing. It's really up to you. There's no real wrong answer. They've just provided you with a lot of different options here so that you can be productive. All right, so what do you think so far, Kaylee? Were there some good tips?
Yeah.
Okay, good. We're on a roll. Any questions at all? No questions? Okay. All right, we move on. Okay, so the next thing that I want to kind of go over is just a scenario. Let's say that you get a new laptop for whatever reason. Let's say you ran over it with your car when you were backing up. Maybe it got stolen. Maybe it got milk poured on it. Maybe your kid needs it for homework and you have to go get one for yourself and you're not buying it for your kid because you know they're going to break it. I mean, all of those could possibly be an option. So when you go ahead and set your Outlook back up on your laptop, maybe this laptop that you have, you're not going to be using it all the time. Maybe when this whole COVID thing kind of goes away, maybe you're going to be using it some of the time, but not all of the time. That's where caching, Outlook caching, starts to become more important. And what do I mean by that? So let's make this scenario, I think, a little bit more realistic that people can kind of wrap their heads around. So let's say that you're a church, maybe you're in the media department in the church, and you're constantly getting lots of PDFs or images or things that people are emailing to you, and you've had your email for 2 years or longer, right? And your inbox is chock full of a lot of stuff. And maybe you decided to try to go with the laptop that's not so expensive, so it doesn't have a huge hard drive. And then you start downloading all of that mail onto your new laptop, and it chokes it, okay? Because what's happening is it has to pull down all of that mail from the dawn of time, and it just starts pulling it down, and it's pulling it from Office 365 onto your laptop so that you can see it and reply to it. That's great from the fact that you now have all your data, but you've got some problems. You got some problems because you got to wait for all that mail to come down. I've seen clients that have had 30 gigs of mail, and it's taken almost a half a day to a full day to pull all of that mail down and save it on their Outlook. And then they can start using their laptop really in earnest. It's just like, it's mind-blowing how much mail some of these people have. So, I mean, Kaylee, would you want to wait that long before you can actually really be using that laptop?
No way. I'd be frustrated.
Yeah, it's pretty frustrating, right? So that's where cache mode starts to really shine. You can set it when you get your Outlook and you go to configure it and set it up. What you want to do is you can right-click on your account name, which I'm doing here. Can you see that, Kaylee?
Mm-hmm.
And you go to account properties.
Mm-hmm.
And then you drop this account settings, and under here is account name and sync settings. And when you click on that, this little beauty shows up. So this is where you can determine on how much it's really going to pull down and leave the rest out there on 365 Cloud. This is really helpful. Like if you're like, man, I really want to get to work right now. I know I've got a crazy large amount of mail on my 365. I don't want it to be all. I want to keep it maybe to 6 months. Now, that doesn't mean that the other mail is deleted and gone and you'll never be able to see it. It just means that if you need to access that mail that's older than that, there's gonna be a little bit of lag in your Outlook while it goes and grabs it and pulls it down to your Outlook to see. You can still search for it, you can still see that mail, but it's not going to be pulled down in its entirety with attachments and everything. So this is really nice to try to keep your local, it's called an OST file, your local file that keeps your mail smaller. Okay. Why, Kaylee, would you want to keep your local mail folder that you have smaller? Why do you think that would be important?
Well, I'm sure it'd probably run better, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So your performance on doing searches and other things will be much faster. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But let's say that you have a problem with your Outlook and you have to crash it out and that file gets corrupted.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to pay the penalty to wait for that sucker to pull all the way back down before you can start to be productive again. So having a smaller OST file allows you to be way more nimble. So if you have it set to 6 months, you could probably be, if you're setting up your new laptop and you open up Outlook, you might have to wait 10, 15 minutes for it to finally pull down everything and you can start working in earnest, like really working. Because what happens is some people may not notice this. See right here, it says all folders are up to date. What that means is this Outlook client has all of the mail that it's supposed to have, that it knows it needs, locally copied. So now you're ready to rock. Any of your searches are going to be 100% accurate. Any of the mail that you're looking at that you need is here. So that's kind of one of the first things that I want to talk about. Now, if you notice, there's an option that you can turn caching off. I do not recommend that you do that. Now, if you really want to get to work right away and not have it pull down anything, you can just turn it off. The problem with that is, as users are clicking on mail messages, you have to wait for everything you click on for it to go get it from 365 and pull it down. So what you'll notice is, as each message you go to click on, there'll be about like maybe a second to a second and a half of lag before you can actually see the mail. And if you're like trying to tab between messages to find things, it can be really annoying. So I do not suggest you turn this off. I just suggest that you get this number set to the right thing. Okay. Even if you are using the workstation on a regular basis, I recommend that you pull it down to 6 months to a year at least, just to try to make sure that you keep your file that you've got local smaller than possible, because it's just a better experience. I've seen users that have had 20 or 30 gig sized OST files that are just massive, and they're just so unwieldy. Outlook just kind of chokes when you go to open it. It doesn't really handle those massive files very well. So this is really, really a good thing. So I think this would be the next tip. What do you think? Did you know about this, Kaylee?
No, I didn't.
You didn't know about that. Okay. All right. I'll use something. So, and if you have any questions about this, let us know. Put in a ticket or things like that. We can assist you. But definitely, I would keep it to a year to 6 months. And like I said, you can access all of that old mail. It's still in your inbox. It's still where you would expect it to be. But when you go to click on it, there might be a little bit of a lag while it goes and gets it and pulls it down. So that's why if you find that you go to look for a mail message that's 2 years old, you go to click on it, it's like, why is this being laggy? Well, it's because it's going and getting it and pulling it down. It doesn't have it look. All right. That's cache mode. Now, I want to talk about online archive. What do you think online archive is, Kaylee?
Like backups for your email?
Sorta. So here's why online archive is really nice. So let's say that you have had your mail forever, right? That you've had it 5 years, 6 years, you've been using this mailbox for an extended period of time. And you're like those people that I was described earlier, you have a lot of attachments, or you have a lot of mail that just would bloat your mailbox up, that makes it very, very large. Now, you're a good person. You set your caching to 6 months to a year, right? So you're only pulling that mail down local, but that mail that you have in the cloud is still just getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, okay? So where online archiving is really helpful is what it does is it says, okay, we're going to take that mail and we're going to set a time frame. Like you could say 2 years, or you could say a year and a half, and you can cull it out and move it to this online archive mail. You can still access it like I'm doing here. And if I dropped it down, I don't have anything in my inbox right now, but if there was mail that it had grabbed from my inbox would be here. And so it's going to be the same folder structure that maybe you've had in your Outlook. And it just takes it and moves it down there, and it does it for you automatically. Every night, Outlook looks based on the policy you've set. Let's say it's 2 years or a year and a half. It takes it and it moves it out of your normal mailbox and it puts it in your online archive mailbox. Well, why would you want to do that? Why would you want to do that, Kaylee? What would make you want to do that?
Well, you don't want your cloud to be full, right?
Right.
Or if you don't have enough space.
That's a good point. So online archive has 100 gig limit. So it's very large. Your mailbox limit, depending on your license, may be 50 to 100. So you basically get a lot more space that you have available if you start taking that mail and moving it. Also, what's really nice too is when you're doing searches here in your inbox, it's a natural stopping point or filter to keep your searches more relevant in the time frame that you're trying to do. So if I do a search here and I said I want to do a search for maybe discovery on some legal thing that we're doing and it's some case, you don't want to see everything since the dawn of time that you're doing on this. So that's where it's going to take the mail out of your primary mailbox. It's going to move it in here. Now, I know some of you might go on, well, what if I do want to do a search on that? That's where you flip it and you say all mailboxes. When you do that, it will actually search not only this mailbox, but this mailbox. So that helps make your searches become way more efficient. So it's kind of a 1-2 punch. Put your caching on, turn on online archiving, and then you're going to notice your searches start to become a lot more accurate. So I would set your online archive to like a year to 2 years. And then what that does is it starts shrinking that storage and starts making your searches much more faster, your searches more relevant, allow you to be able to have more data that's more relevant to what you're doing. And then if you switch computers, you're not pulling down as much mail because you have your caching set right and your online archiving. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So, and you can see here, it's right here. You have access. It's not gone.
Mm-hmm.
Still available. We were talking with a client who they're moving from one server to another, and it's a terminal server, so everybody logs into that box and they have their Outlook there. And we were telling them, look, you need to turn on online archiving because it's going to save the space on that server, because it's going to make sure that all that mail is moved. And then also we want to turn the caching and shrink it. And they're like, no, we don't want to do that. We're scared because we're not going to have all the data. I'm like, no, it's still there. So we're kind of having to baby step them into getting used to this, but it's still there. You still have access to it. It still shows up in your inbox. What's nice about that is in the old days, the way that it used to do it is it would export it to a file called a PST, and then that mail is only available on that computer where that PST file is. So then if you went to access the mail from home and it archived it, you'd never see it. But this new method, well, it's not really that new. You can access that archived mail from anywhere. And if we have time today, I'll try to show it to you how you can even access it on your iPad or iOS device or Android device. What do you think, Kaylee?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, all right. Moving on. Any questions about that? Okay, so
they're explaining it well.
Maybe, or maybe they're just drooling. I'm not sure. So I want to talk next about shared mailboxes. So here's the scenario where shared mailboxes really start to become very helpful. Let's say that it's an employee that works for the company and they've decided to move on to greener pastures. Taking their mailbox and moving it to a shared mailbox is really nice, because then whoever you want to have access to that mailbox can see it. As you can see here, I've created a shared mailbox called Sales Team. So kind of the scenario that I went here with this one is I actually was going for the fact that I want this shared mailbox to have an email address, because me and you are on the sales team. Congratulations, you got promoted to sales. You're not getting a raise though about that.
Oh, okay.
So since we're on the sales team, Kaylee and I have shared it out in such a way that Kaylee now sees it on her inbox just like I do. And so any emails that come into sales team at axiom.tech, in this case it's Axiom 904 on Microsoft.com, it shows up in the inbox and we both see it. We can both see that email, and so whoever happens to be the fastest on the draw can reply back. So what's nice about that is you can have a mailbox that you have users working collaboratively on. So this is really great for info, maybe a marketing, maybe sales, those types of things. Everybody sees that mailbox, but they still have their own inbox that they can see their mail on. And then what's nice is if I reply back, Kaylee, do you have that on yours?
I'm looking.
I replied to this message. I'm just curious if you can see that it shows as replied.
Where would I find it on Webmail?
It should show up as an additional mailbox down. It says sales team. You see it?
Yeah.
If you go to the inbox, do you see under the mail message that it shows as being replied to? Just curious.
The test?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It shows as replied? Okay. Because I went under sent and it doesn't show the email actually in the sent box. What I mean by that is, like, say someone sent an email to the sales department and you wanted to reply, I can go ahead and hit reply here, and it's going to be from the sales team to, in this case, it's going to go to me, but it could be potential salesperson, potential new client, whatever their email.
I see.
So then I can say, oh, thanks for reaching, if I can spell, thanks for reaching out. Well, what would be the best number to call you at? Right? And so then you can reply back, and then maybe you are away from your desk, you sit down and go, oh, okay, I see that Bobby did reply to that potential sales lead, and so we know that's been done. A church, it could be like prayer requests. That's another scenario where it'd be nice. Prayer requests come into that mailbox, multiple people can see it, right? And then they can do it. Now, sometimes what people do is they use what are called distribution lists. So you don't have this mailbox. It's just anybody that sends email to prayers at whatever your church domain name would be, it would just go into your inbox and everybody shows it. The only problem with that, though, is I don't see if anybody replied to it.
Right.
Whereas with the shared mailbox, you can. And also, you can kind of organize things in here, too. So then I can say, responded prayer requests, if you do that. Or it could be, responded sales calls. And then you can just drag that. Put it in there.
Are we solving world hunger later?
Yes, we are. That. Yeah, that's on our calendar. I figured we'd knock that out. So that goes under the responded, and so that's nice because then it's more collaborative, right? You can kind of see what I'm doing, I can kind of see what you're doing about how you're putting stuff in those folders, and it's just a little bit nicer doing it that way. So that's kind of my personal preference. But with, like I said, Outlook is such, and this is also partly an Exchange Office 365 thing. You have to set up some specific things in 365 to do this. You can't just straight do it from your Outlook. Like, oh, let me just go ahead and create a shared mailbox. That has to, your admin on Office 365 has to create that for you. But I'm just showing you how you could leverage it once that's made. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's really nice. Then you can see more of the collaboration that you can start to have. Also, you have a calendar for that shared mailbox as well, right? So maybe you might, in this situation, put a time that you want people to pray for that person on there. Or you might have a appointment for sales on there. Or, maybe for legal, if you're an attorney and you're like, hey, I want to, do a deposition, and this is our deposition email address. So if anybody's doing anything related to that, or it could be pleadings, or there's lots of different ways that you could work with shared mailboxes. Or maybe it's someone, like I said, that worked for the company that no longer works there, and you want to see all the mail that they had, and you want several people to see it. And maybe you still want that mail for that person to still flow in, but people be able to have it. Here's a nice thing, little extra tip. It does not require a license for that shared mailbox. So let's say you have 10 people in the organization and you create 5 shared mailboxes. Those mailboxes do not cost you anything licensing-wise for Office 365. So that's a nice little feature too when you do shared mailboxes like that.
Yeah.
No license cost on that. And that's also nice if you have an employee that leaves the company, because you're not using a license to be able to still see their mail. So you unlicense that user, you save the money on it, everybody still gets access to their stuff. And then once you feel like you don't need it anymore, you can just delete the mailbox and it'll just automatically disappear off of everybody's. So that's shared mailboxes. What do you think, Kaylee? Exciting stuff, right?
I like it. I like it. Let's keep it going.
Let's keep it going. We're going to keep it going. All right. Any questions? No questions. All right, man. Quiet group today.
Quiet silence.
Maybe we need to give away something to get them to start talking. All right. So the next person asks it's got to be a good question. Got to be a good question. If you ask a good question, I will give you this thumb drive valued well over 50 cents.
Oh, there was Regina said not yet. She hasn't had questions yet.
No, none yet. So if you have a question, I will give you this thumb drive, and me and Kaylee will sign it. I'll sign here.
We'll sign it.
Kaylee can sign here, and this is a I think a 16 gig thumb drive. So it's not. I mean, it's,
you can store nice. Some stuff on there.
Store some stuff on that. So well over 50 cents. Okay, we soldier on. So let's look at calendars. So a lot of you guys are working from remote.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Working with calendars and sharing and collaborating on those is pretty important. So first off, let me go ahead and click on the calendar option right here. Now, I did show you how you can have the calendar list here, which is very helpful, but you don't have the calendar layering and some other things that I want to show you. Do that now. Okay, so let me look here and let me uncheck that. Okay, so I have my calendar right now showed, and you can pick different ways of doing calendar options here. Okay. You can show it by week. You can do it by work week, so it doesn't show you Saturdays and Sundays, or you can do it by day, and it's just gives you more granular detail. I prefer the month. I just like seeing things as they go. All right, so let's say that, Kaylee, that you have a kid, and I'm now a grandfather. Yay.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And you have a soccer star child, okay? And your parents, me and Judy, are a little slow on the draw. And you have your schedule already set up for all the kids, right? Because you have multiple. You had twins. Congratulations.
Oh, no. Don't wish that upon me.
So here is the calendar schedule, right? So you have your travel team. The kids are going there. They're all stars. Of course, any of your kids, because they have my blood, they're going to be amazing at anything they do. And this is the schedule that they're going to be playing their games on, right? Now, this is your work schedule, right? So the work schedule, and maybe you have your work calendar shared out to people in the organization, but you don't want them to see your kids' travel team calendar. Right? So what you would do is you would just create a new calendar, and then when you do that, then you would put everything in here, and you can do that by just saying, new calendar right here.
Yeah, we got some questions flooded in now. People wanted to see this calendar.
Okay. All right, what's the question?
Well, Greg asks a good question. Can you look Google Calendar? Can you, I'm guessing, can you like put them together? Google Calendar to Outlook for the panel view, like in the sense of, can you like have a Google Calendar next to, I'm guessing, but I don't think so.
I don't think so. You might be able to, but we don't advocate.
Probably not. Yeah, probably not in Outlook. Maybe if there was like an app that you could add that would have both of them in one place, but.
Well, you can do, I think there's some plugins that you can get for Gmail and things like that to allow for some of that. But me personally, Greg, I would get everybody using Office 365, and I feel that would be the wisest choice, because then you're going to start to leverage some of this power that I'm about to show you. So what's nice about this feature here is, now that I have this calendar separated, I can now have some personal stuff, and I can share this calendar out, my calendar, with people in the organization by going to Share Calendar, and I can say, you know what, I want to share this calendar to my work calendar to Kaylee. And I want her to have availability only, which means all she's going to see is whether I'm available at this time or not. So it'll say busy or it won't have anything else. But I can also say, you know what? I really trust her. I want her to see the full details of what's going on. Because
Thank you.
my personal stuff that I'm doing, I have my own calendar for that.
Mm-hmm.
So the only thing that I'm going to put on this calendar is going to be work-related thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have a problem sharing that out with everyone.
Right.
So I'll go full detail here, and I will send that to Kaylee. Yes, I'm cool with that. And then whoop, it goes off on its way. So Kaylee will get an invitation in her email. She accepts. My calendar will automatically appear in here for her. Now, I have Kaylee's calendar right here.
Mm-hmm.
But you see here, see it says busy, 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 busy. See, I have just her availability. So I just know that she's working. She's really busy on Tuesday, but she needs to get to work on Thursday and Friday. She's just being lazy. So get to work, girl.
Sorry, I'm so sorry.
This isn't a real calendar. So that's kind of how that works. Now, one thing you may have noticed is I have these little arrows up here on my calendar. I can click that to unlayer it and bring it out as a separate calendar, or I can click this little arrow and layer them on top of each other. So now I see them all as one piece. Now,
Tristan has a question.
Okay.
How do you get the calendar on the side if you don't have the to-do option on the top? Do you know what she's talking about there?
Calendar on the side. Is she referring to?
I think she's referring to this view. Yeah.
That view. Okay, so you just go to view, and then there's this to-do bar right here that you add. That's what makes that calendar.
Yeah. So I guess she doesn't have the to-do. It should be there.
Well, if you're using a different version of Office, like if you're using Outlook for Mac, which she might be, it's possible that might not be there on that version.
Right.
They're trying to blend the two together and give you all the same capabilities, but sometimes it's not always the same.
Yeah, that's a good point. Outlook doesn't have like this kind of view.
Did I answer that, Tristan?
Carmen said that if you search it, sometimes you can find it in different. So that's a great point. That's a great point. So maybe try searching it. There you go.
Now, let's say that Kaylee, her grandparents, or not her grandparents, but the kids' grandparents, that's me, that we're a little slow, and she's getting tired of constantly telling us when the kids' soccer game is, and you want to share it out. That's where you can do this publish online. So you can literally publish this calendar and then see if it's going to work. Is it? No. Yeah. The link inside Outlook isn't working, but it does work on the web client.
Yeah, Webmail. Yeah.
So this is the Webmail. So if you go to portal.microsoft.com, you can also go to outlook.office.com. Log in with your email address and your password, you get to here. I highly suggest all of you know what your email password is. It's amazing how many people feel like they have accomplished something because they don't know their email password. They're like, I don't know my Outlook password, and it's great, But the problem is if you need to be able to check your webmail from a computer that maybe you, like I said in the scenario, you're just hopping on that computer real quick and you just want to check your mail real quick. If you know your webmail, if you know your email address and password, you can check it through the webmail. It's very easy and fast. I mean, Kaylee, I think you use it exclusively, right?
I do. Yeah, I only use that just because I like knowing exactly what I'm going to see no matter where I am. So just knowing that I can pull that up easily on my different computers.
Web browser.
Yeah.
So under the web browser version, you can go here. And you can go to View Outlook Settings. And then under Calendar, there's Shared Calendars. When you click on this, you can say, you know what? I want to share out the kids' schedule, and I want it to be full detail, and I'm going to publish it. It gives you the link right there.
I'm doing it with you.
Yeah. So then right here, you can copy that link, which is not very easily consumable, just to tell it to somebody over the phone. So you would just email it to whoever you want to be able to see it. When they click on the link, what do they see? This is what it looks like. It's just a calendar that has it. They can't add anything to it, but they can see your calendar. Now, this is a public. Now, once you do that, anyone that has that link can see this calendar. It's not really Google searchable, so they're not just going to find it out there on the web through just doing Google searches, but it is still public. So this is where if you have like something that you're trying to share that you want to just give it to the whole family, and then but be able to have control of what that calendar is versus printing it out or texting it to everybody.
Right.
This can be a nice little trick to do that.
Chuck has a question. How do you share an existing folder only without creating a new inbox, etc.? Like share a folder that he already has. I'm guessing in his inbox to somebody.
Okay. Yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, I don't think you can do that other than share an inbox.
I don't think folders are meant to be shared in that way. I think that's why they have the groups, like because you can
shared mailbox.
Yeah.
Things like that. That's where you can try to collaborate and have that. That's also where I think Teams starts to become a little bit more helpful. Some of you guys may not know that, but under Teams, like I'm just bringing up Teams here, and we covered this in our previous videos, but you get the email address for that Teams channel.
Yeah.
So that's where if you're wanting to try to have all the mail messages and those type things go in there, it's helpful to do that.
For sure.
But yeah, no, there's no way that I know of that you can do a folder. Now you can share your inbox here and share it. That you do have the capability of sharing the mailbox from here, but not
like a specific folder.
Right.
Yeah.
Not that I'm
But you can move, if I'm correct. Like you can create a shared folder under, like where you would do the sales teams and stuff under that inbox and move stuff, correct, to that
Right.
folder.
You could take anything that you have in your inbox and put it in that sales team folder, and then anybody would see that.
Right. So if you still, instead of, I think what Chuck is getting at is he has emails that he's already started, in threads that have already occurred that he does now want, or possibly maybe in the future will want in a shared folder. How do you get that to happen too?
Right. So that's where you could copy those email messages into Teams, or you could do a shared mailbox.
Yeah.
That's kind of, I think, the two different ways that you could do it.
Yeah.
My preference would be Teams.
Yeah.
But 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Okay, so we kind of went over layering. One question I do want to throw it out is what's the difference between me having this one picked or this one picked when they're layered like that?
Looks like it's bolded. Bold.
What's the difference?
Doesn't it make yours like highlight?
So when I go to create an appointment, by default, it's going to use whichever one you have focus on.
That's important.
So
you want to make sure you don't put a work meeting on the kids' soccer schedule.
Right, yeah, you'll be like, oh. So that's why if you find yourself not doing this correctly, it might be just better to split it out or just uncheck it right here so that you don't see it, and then when you need it, you can just bring it back.
Right.
All right, so one of the things too that's kind of cool is under that sales team, you also have a shared calendar. So now I can see the sales team's shared calendar, and we're going to have a sales team like building, like team building, and we're going to throw axes on Friday. That's pretty exciting.
Axes.
So, and you can layer it just like this, and you can kind of see, and then if you have this one, we can have a new appointment. And if you see here, when I go to do that, when I'm making the new appointment, it's going to pick that the color is going to be green, right? So we can say after action meeting, and I could do 5 o'clock because I'm a hard charger. Save and close, and notice it's green. And Kaylee now sees that calendar appointment too.
Because I'm a part of that.
Because she's part of it. Which is nice. Any questions about that? All right, so this is really helpful doing these kinds of things when you're working from remote, because then you can have some collaborative calendars that you're sharing and doing those kinds of things. And then you can uncheck what you don't want to see.
Right.
So that you're just really focusing on the calendars that you want to have. All right, so another thing that you can do too is you can have rooms. So that's where you may want to open a calendar that's for like the conference room, right? Sometimes you guys, it's amazing, conference rooms can turn into like World War III. People are like, no, I reserved it. No, I had it. It's not on the piece of paper that I have it written down. You know, people get really upset. So you can create a shared calendar in Outlook to be able to track your rooms. So you can have it from the room list here. In this case, we have this conference room. It's called Conference Room 1. So I'm going to add that here to my calendar. And there you go. So in this case, there's a birthday party scheduled for the Conference Room 1 on the 17th. And then also there is another conference that's happening on the 15th. Somebody's got something scheduled. So that's where I think having conference rooms are really helpful. But it doesn't have to be just a conference room. It could be some type of shared resource. It could be maybe AV equipment. It could be a laptop that you use for some process that you're doing. Maybe you're a law firm and you're wanting to be able to use it for discovery meetings or depositions, and you're trying to make sure you know who has the ability to use that laptop. It doesn't have to be just a room. Really kind of open your mind to think about possibilities, right? That you're trying to do. That way other people can kind of see, and this allows you to collaborate, and anyone that has that can do those kinds of things. So we're kind of running low on time. I do want to show one little quick thing here that people might find helpful is when you're setting up a new machine, like you're working from remote, you're setting up your Outlook. If you choose not to use the webmail, one thing that you can do, which is really great, is these little quick access tooltips up here in your Outlook are really, really nice. So in this situation, I've added print preview up here. Because if not, and I wanted to print this email, I would have to open it, right? And then I'd have to say file and then print. And then I get to the print preview. And it's kind of like a bunch of extra steps. But if I go here and I click this button, it takes me right there. One click. One simple click.
Sherry asked, does Mac have the room option?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a function of Office 365, and it works for all of them. So no matter what product you have.
Just as long as you have the Outlook application or the.
You can even use it on the web client, like the being able to see
Webmail.
that. Yeah, it's even available here. So if I go to calendars. See, now that I've added it in my Outlook, it's there on the web client too. I can check it and boom. Now there's the birthday party. There's the meeting.
Great question, Sherry.
Yeah. So how you add these tips, these little tool tips up at the top here, is you just this little down arrow guy. It comes down here and you can check them. And if you don't see the ones you're looking for, you can go to more commands, and these guys come up here, and you can find them.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So you're all kinds of little good ones, like you could have a new message, you could have a new task, print, a spell check is another one that's pretty commonly added. So see right here, you can add it, spell check. So instead of waiting, right?
Yeah.
To try to go to up here and say this email that I have here, and I go to, actually you want to do a new email, but if you had a new email, you do a spell check. There's one thing that another scenario that we see tickets come in for, where people are like, I can't, when I go to reply to someone's email, I can't, my signature doesn't show up. Why is that? Or I'm trying to paste other content in there and it doesn't show up. So here's an example. So here's this plain text. And when I hit reply, and I want to add my signature, my legal blah, blah, blah signature, like my picture's not there. The content's there, but my picture isn't there. Why is that, Kaylee? Why do you think that is?
I don't know. Is it not like formatted correctly?
Right. That's the problem. So you have to go to this format tab here. If you notice, it's formatted in plain text. How that happens is sometimes people are sending messages from a phone, or they're sending it from another device that does not support HTML embedding. And what will happen is then your pictures or any type of things you're trying to paste in there just won't go.
Right.
So what you need to do is you go to formatting and you switch it to HTML. Now you can see all of a sudden I can do fonts and all these other things light up.
Right.
Now I can come in here, delete that message, and I can go to back to the message option here, and I can go to signature, and now I can add my signature, and there's my cool signature with my legal cat. He's ready to get some work done. That is a get it done attitude cat. But that's because the format of the email that I got was plain text, so it can't embed any of that stuff. That's not a format that it understands. So we get a lot of tickets about that. Sometimes people coming in and they're like, they're setting up their Outlook or something, and they don't realize that their default is set to plain text, or messages that they're getting from other people are plain text. How do you fix that?
Right.
That's how you do it.
I like it. I like it.
Okay. You want to take some questions while I try to do this live demo of the iPad?
Let's see. I see the print function, but not print preview from my top bar.
Yes.
Oh, but she found it. Okay. Right. But yeah, that's that little drop down, right?
You want to do
that
more
you were
commands.
Explaining.
Yeah. So you want to do
Yeah. So I guess that'll have to do with a lot of questions, right? If you don't have this, if you don't have that on your bar, that should answer all of those questions in the sense of you can kind of customize it. If it's not there, you can add it, or you can remove some stuff, which is pretty cool. I like that. Let's see.
Okay.
All right. CC staff's got another meeting that they're going into.
Okay. I want to show you real quick why you would want to use the Outlook app versus Mail. The reason why you want to use the Outlook app versus Mail. The big reason why is there's more functionality in the full-blown Outlook. What do I mean by that? If you just set up Mail on your iPad using the native Mail clients that are built into your iPhone, all you're going to see is the calendar that is for you. You're not going to see that soccer calendar. You're not going to see the rooms. You're not going to see any of that other additional information that is kind of important for what you're doing. None of that is going to show up on the native Outlook or on the native Apple iOS apps. Whereas if you use Outlook, you're going to see in there under the inbox, right? I can see, all of my folders that I have, which is normal. But you can do things under your calendar.
Mhm.
If I click here on my name, you can see all the calendars I have. So here's the kids calendar, here's the birthday calendar, here's the sales team calendar, right? That's a shared mailbox. That would never show up in the calendar option that you would have available on your iOS.
Yeah.
And then you can also hit the little guy right here. And then I can do, oh, I want to add another shared calendar. Well, let's add the room.
Right.
Oh, there's the conference room right there. I'm going to hit plus. Boop. Got it. Now it shows up. So that's why the actual Outlook app is better.
Yeah.
Now, where does it kind of get annoying sometimes? The contacts. The contacts don't sync great.
Mhm.
So what I find is a good solution is to set up the contacts on my iPad to pull down from Office 365 so that
Right.
I can still see them show up in like my messages, like if I want to add somebody in my iMessage or things like that to message from my iOS device. That way, as I add contacts onto my Outlook, they'll show up as quick, easy options for me to add into the message. Does that make sense? So like
Mhm.
if I'm going in here and I wanted to send a new iMessage, which is not set up, but if I did do that, obviously those messages, those contacts aren't going to just flow automatically and sync perfectly. So,
Right.
but if you add the contact in there, then those will flow as you're adding them in your Outlook on your day-to-day operation. You can still leverage it in your iMessage. That's the only time that I've kind of seen like I was just like, wah, wah. It's a little annoying because it would be nice if it just natively synced everything straight from your contacts to your normal contacts so that you can leverage it through
Mhm.
iMessage and other things like that, because you're probably going to be using iMessage on your iOS device.
Mhm.
But it's well worth it based on all the additional features that you get. You get the additional calendars and folders that you need to have. You have the shared resources, the shared mailboxes, the shared teams
Mhm.
that you want to do, and you just don't get that. So
Yeah.
how cool is that I'm actually showing live the
I know.
iPhone?
I was very impressed with it. I was like, "What?"
Yeah, it
That's
was.
cool.
I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to pull it off, but I did.
Well, awesome. Does anybody else have any more questions? I think we should be pretty good. The next webinar, I believe, is going to be about like more hardware in the sense of headsets, right? Webcams and stuff is what
And
we're planning on doing.
right, and how can you set up your home office?
Yeah, just to set it up in a way that will be very helpful and very easy to you. I think we've gotten a lot of questions about that. A lot of questions recently about webcams. A lot of questions about, I don't have a microphone, or I don't have, how do I know if my computer has that? That kind of stuff. So I encourage you guys to tune in. Also, I will be sending that registration link, and you can send that to anybody you'd like that you think will benefit in your company or outside of your company. This is just for anybody that you feel needs to hear about it. So make sure you share that link, and make sure that everybody gets to hear about all of these cool tricks and tips to set up your home office to make sure that you're running smoothly.
Yeah, we also are seeing, right, a lot of price gouging
Yeah,
on a lot of that hardware that people are getting. So we have some suggestions on where you can buy some of those things, sourcing them so
so
that
you
you're
don't
not.
feel like you're scammed into
Yeah,
a crazy price.
I'm seeing web cameras that normally go for 40 or 50 bucks going for 130. It's crazy.
So crazy.
Yeah, it's like
It's
toilet
nuts.
tissue out there.
Basically, I guess so. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We will, my voice just left me. We will see you guys hopefully next Wednesday. And look out for that registration link tomorrow. Awesome. Bye, guys.
Bye.